Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Hi, how you doing? Good show? It's all right, actually, isn't it? It's a nice one this year. My name's Eric. I'm Eric Renno, and as you can see, I'm a teacher and a trainer. And I'm also the founder of a website called tipsquirrel.com. If you come within 5 meters of me, I will tell you about tipsquirrel.com. So just be warned. It's a free website. It's designed to help people learn in Photoshop and Lightroom. It's all completely free, not trying to sell you anything like that. You can see that I am a founder of TipSquirrel. I am a Photoshop influencer. So I influence people on Photoshop, apparently. Also, I'm a learning and development coach for a company or companies called Arch Apprentices and also Creative Pioneers. So I work basically in London, where I go around different places and help them be creative, which is really nice. I'm a bit of a drone enthusiast as well. What you won't see on there is that I'm a photographer, because I'm really not. I'm a teacher and a trainer. I like to impart knowledge, but it doesn't mean that I'm very good at it. So, you know, you guys, you're the talented ones. I'm just going to tell you how to utilize that the best that you can. So in this little talk, what we're going to do is going to talk about what Adobe Stock is. We're going to also talk about how to become a contributor. We're going to look at contributing to Adobe Stock through Photoshop and through Lightroom. We're also going to look at Creative Sync, which is big news right now, and tips for maximizing earnings, which I'm probably thinking that that's the one you're most interested in. That's what you're here for. And then what should you shoot? It's a very difficult thing to come up with, really. So Adobe Stock has been part of the Adobe family for a few years now. When I was first involved with Adobe a few years ago, Adobe Stock didn't exist, but they soon came in after they acquired Fotolia, a really brilliant company based in Germany, but now obviously part of the Adobe family. And with that came all these stock images, and already people were starting to buy from them, or were buying from them in their droves. So it was a great company for Adobe Stock, or Adobe, to acquire. There's a lot of ways that you can contribute to Adobe Stock, and in fact this slide, in just the few weeks that this has been out, or the few months it's been out, has already changed a bit. So you can see photos, as you might expect, are one of the big ones. A lot of photographs, and we'll talk about the sort of photographs that you might want to upload or contribute a little bit later. Illustrations, though, if you are an illustrator, feel free to have a look at the kinds of things that you can put up there that are illustrations, vectors, and videos as well. So, you know, a lot of photographers now are getting into video, and so have a look at those opportunities as well. Whilst you're out while you're out shooting, have a look at those opportunities to take a little bit of a video. So why do you want to contribute to Adobe Stock? Well, actually, the process of it is seamless. You can do it through Lightroom, and you can do it through Bridge. It's really, really easy. So you literally can go from Lightroom to Adobe Stock. You can build your personal brand, and I know that sounds a little bit cheesy perhaps, but that's really what you're after. You're after building your own niche, about building your own personality, and people recognizing your brand. And then, of course, there's getting rewarded for your work. I was talking to somebody earlier on that was asking me about Adobe Stock. I think he's in the audience actually right now. And we were talking about the fact that they had all these images that were on hard drives and never did anything with them. So, you know, this is all potential money-making assets that you already own, that you already have, that are doing nothing for you. So that's maybe why you're here, and I don't blame you, to be honest with you. So if you're not a contributor as yet, or you're not part of Adobe Stock, it's really easy to sign up. All you need to do is to go to the create account on Adobe Stock, upload some content, and start selling. That is literally it. That's all you need to do. And we'll talk more about, in fact, let's do that now. Because I'm having some difficulty with the internet, I'm not going to chance it. This place is a little bit of a jinx to me. I can do talks anywhere else, but I come to the Adobe Theatre in Birmingham and it just jinxes me. So the idea behind uploading to Adobe Stock is that we want to make this as easy as we can for you. And so what's happened is that Adobe have developed what's called Adobe Sense. You may have heard of that. If you've looked through your program, you'll see that there's a talk about it tomorrow and how it can be your photography assistant. But what Adobe Sense can do is it can look at different images and it can work out what is in that image. Now this sounds very sci-fi, but trust me, it really does work. It blew my mind the first time I saw it. I thought somebody was having me on. But it analyzes the images using crowdsourced information. So it will know that there's a river, that there's a boat, that there's a building. And already you may have already seen this in a Lightroom online. So you can look at your images and you can search your images by the content. That's all done by Adobe Sense, and that's built into Adobe Stock. So when you come to upload your images, it's going to know what's already in there and it's going to keyword it for you. How happy does that make you? The new Lightroom uses the same technology as well and will keyword your images as you upload them as well. Let me hear you say hallelujah. No, right? Now, obviously, you can add keywords to it and you can change the order of them to make them more prominent in searches. That's up to you. But Adobe Sense really does do a fantastic job of that. So what we want to do for you is we want you to sell your images to the largest market we can. And that is done really very well by Adobe Stock. Now where this differs from other stock is that other stock people are not involved with Photoshop, with InDesign or with Premiere or with Illustrator. I think I've said that one already. But they're not involved with those. You can search Adobe Stock from within Photoshop, from within Illustrator, etc. So let's look at this from the other side. You're putting together a magazine and you need a photograph of a rabbit, for example. If you're not using Adobe Stock, you're going to have to come out of InDesign, go to the website, download a low resolution version of a rabbit because you don't know if that's the rabbit you want, download it and then upload it into your InDesign project. Then your editor or somebody comes along and says, no, that's not the rabbit we want, delete it, go back and repeat until you get the right rabbit. With Adobe Stock, you can search that from within InDesign. So you can then go, I'll have this rabbit, but I don't want to buy it just yet. I'll put that rabbit in. It goes, thanks very much. Now, if you're then told that's not the rabbit we want, I don't know why I chose rabbits. I said rabbit far too often now. If that's not the image that you want, then that can be easily swapped out from within the package, from within InDesign. So then your editor or you go, yep, that's the way I want it. Could be a Photoshop composite. Go, yep, that's the one I want. All you need to do then is right click and choose to buy that image. Bosh, it's done. The full res version comes down and plugs itself in. Now I've used InDesign because that's kind of like a nice easy flow, but people in Photoshop are doing this also because Photoshop is a huge package within the design industry as well, you know. So they're not going outside of Photoshop. So even something as simple as a backdrop, for example, you're all photographers, you've probably wanted a new backdrop for a piece at some point. You can go and choose 6 or 7 different backdrops, see which one you like, manipulate it, twist it around, recolor it. Doesn't matter, because as soon as you say buy that image, it downloads the full res, remanipulates that, recolors that, and puts it all together. So you've done the work already. All you've got to do is replace the image with this full res version. Now that is why people are turning to Adobe Stock, because it's so easy, it's so streamlined that they don't have to keep going in and out of the package. And so over time, people are going to come to Adobe Stock more and more, is my opinion. So that is why you're going to get to the largest audience that you can. So there's all kinds of challenges that customers have already told Adobe Stock that they've come across. And one of the things that keeps creatives up at night, apparently according to my notes, is the pressure to deliver creative ideas and content faster than ever. And that's where Adobe Stock comes in, because they can just do it seamlessly. So Adobe Stock, as I've already said, is already on Photoshop and in InDesign, but it's also in the mobile apps. So if you've ever seen me in this theatre before, you will know that I've probably stood here and talked to you about mobile apps. They're fantastic, I love them. And now you can get to Adobe Stock from within them. So creatives are now doing half their work on the train, on the bus, or whatever it may be, putting ideas together. Whenever the idea takes them, they're putting the ideas together on their mobile phone, and they've got everything they need coming from Adobe Stock. And these, of course, are the people that will be looking for your images. Whatever it may be, they will be looking for your images. What you're doing by being creative is you're adding to the pot of being more creative. And designers and creatives will know that they will be saving money by using your content, rather than having to maybe hire someone to go and get that particular shot for you, or to arrange the shoot themselves. So I've already spoken a little bit about Photoshop and Lightroom, and of course you can contribute to Adobe Stock from both, but you can also grab images into Photoshop as well. This is sort of like the main source of, probably for you, where you're going to get your images in. But it's a smaller part of a much bigger creative suite, known as the Creative Cloud now, of course. So we have lots of different ones, and they're all, slowly but all, many of them already have Adobe Stock in them. Okay. With Adobe Sync, as I said before, I've raced ahead a bit. You can create wherever you are, and of course you can contribute to Adobe Stock, but you can use Adobe Stock from wherever you are. So just a little bit of an illustration there about how the images come across. Sorry, I'm moving around a bit. So you can see here that the tiger has been searched for, and images of tigers can come up. It doesn't have to be just tiger. It could be tiger tree, and just the ones with the tiger in the tree. Now I have often, when I've demonstrated this live, when I'm not jinxed, I've often asked people to come up with something they don't think is going to be there. There is over 100 million assets, I think I got that right, within inside Adobe Stock now. It's very difficult to find something that hasn't. I think we looked at frog with a hat on last time. Sure enough, there it was. You know, it's people are buying these things. So, like I say, I'm not going to go through the demo because I am jinxed, but please, you're going to have to take my word for it, I guess. It is really easy, it's really streamlined, and if you're here tomorrow, by all means pop in. If I've got the the internet sorted out, then I'll certainly be demonstrating then. So, how do you maximize your earnings? How do you now decide what you're going to contribute and how it's going to make you some money? First of all, understanding your audience. So who is it that you want to sell to? Who is it that you want to appeal to? Will it be graphic designers? Will it be other photographers? So online and offline advertisements are a great source for buying Adobe Stock. So, you know, you've got to start getting into the mindset of who's going to buy this and why would they want it? How are they going to use it? So is it going to be on an advertisement? Is it going to be part of a magazine cover? Is it for mobile? Where are you going to put it? What you need to do though is be regular. This is not something that you can just go, right, here's 100 images, that'll do me. Here's 5 images, that'll do me. You have to do it regularly. And the reason for that is that you're building up, like I said, you're building up your brand, but also it kind of improves your profile. every image that's uploaded to Adobe Stock will have your name next to it as the contributor. So if somebody likes something that you've done, the chances are they're going to click that and they're going to look at more images of what you've done. And hopefully that's going to stick in their mind. Now I want to just go back a little bit to when we saw the tiger, because you might be thinking, well, how then do people then find my image if there's different pictures of tigers? Here we go. So Adobe Stock knows how the industry works and knows that it's got to serve you as the contributors. So it's not going to favor one over another. So when you search for tiger, the most popular images will be selected because they're popular for a reason. Then some new images will be selected because, hey, they might be good ones too. And then some other images will be selected. And that means then everybody gets a plain flying field. That's not right. A level playing field to work from because all your images are being shown equally. Okay. It also improves your rank, and Adobe Stock have a ranking system, and that can be quite good for you because then you start earning more money. So that's all good. And it's not very comfortable for us as British people, is it, to talk about this, about money, but we really should. We should embrace this as being an opportunity. And of course, then it improves your earnings potential because you're regularly doing it. You're going to be able to provide more. Now, of course, you should get model releases. Unless you have a model release with it, it's not going to be accepted. Because every image goes through a human eyes or past human eyes, there's no getting away with it. You're going to have to follow these. But that's great because then we know everything's done. You don't have to worry about it. That's done. That's good. There's also some issues with people not wanting their photograph taken, and then all of a sudden they see it on a billboard. We don't want that to happen either. So get your model release and you're all good. Dun, dun, dun. Keywording. So I've already spoken a little bit about keywording and about how Adobe Stock will do your keywording, or the majority of your keywording for it. But don't forget that Adobe Sense is good, but it's not infallible. Is that the right word? I think it is. Think about other words that you can use. So in this case, there's lots of words that we can use, but actually there's a few there that would stick out more than others, that may be a little bit more searchable than others. So even something like organized, that might be something that comes up. So you've got to think, okay, this is a clock, it has a minute hand, it is a round thing, it is, pink, whatever it may be. But where would it come if somebody was trying to search for images as well? Obviously, Adobe Sense at the moment, won't know that that might be something that is to do with organized. So we have those sets, which are the 5 keywords. They may be the 5 that you want to add to it, but then you can add some more and then add them as you go through. Okay. Don't forget that the auto keywording is going to seriously accelerate this. I mean, you're going to fly through it. It's quite cool. In fact, it's very cool. Okay. I'm not going to read through everything, but keywording is important. Of course, that's how people are going to find your image. So make sure that you are being reasonably specific, but also putting any keywords that may relate to it as well. Then we have some restrictions. So, for example, we know that this is a car, and if there's any car enthusiasts in here, you may know what that car is. Somebody has told me before, I can't remember, but you may know what that car is. But to the average person, they will not know what that car is. Therefore, that image is okay. However, if it had, and I don't know if this is a, what do you think it is? Maybe a Mercedes or something? What do you think it is? Mercedes, okay, somebody knows their cars. If you could see the Mercedes badge, then we wouldn't have it because, that's a symbol and it wouldn't be allowed. So just be careful of the kind of things, that might be in the background. obviously you don't want to have your images rejected just because you made a mistake and you didn't look at it too thoroughly. Okay, so trademarks and logos, real life events and buildings are considered editorial and cannot be used in commercial applications. There we go, just exactly what's on the notes. So what should you shoot? Practically anything, I suppose, but there's some of them that go better than others. So depending on what's going on at the time, and we'll get to more of that in just a minute, things are going to, my apologies for that, look at that. We have any designers in? Oh, I bet your brain just exploded then, eh? So any of those is good. They're the kind of main subjects, everybody's got them, they're around us all the time, that's great, and they are good sellers. Make sure that what you're doing looks right though. So, and this is going to be a theme. I've got lots of these slides that give you different advice. But the theme underlying all this is it's got to look right. So, if we got my wife to dress up as a blacksmith, and if she's watching this on streaming, hello dear. If we got her to dress up as a blacksmith and then go and put her there, it just wouldn't look right. She didn't know what she was doing. Wouldn't be able to hold the hammer correct. Because she's not a blacksmith, not because she's my wife, I'm not being sexist. She doesn't know what she's doing, so if I was there, I wouldn't know what I was doing. So make sure that it looks right, that it's authentic. In the same scape, if you find yourself in a situation where you think, you know what, that looks great, that looks like it's a good seller, take a shot of it. Obviously, you're going to need a model receipt, a model release form for that. A medal receipt, apparently, I was going for. A model release form for the gentleman there. But it looks right. It looks good. We're not absolutely sure what he's doing, which is nice because we can use that in different situations as well. Find a colour. If it's colourful, it's going to go well. But here, the reason why I've chosen this image is it's predominantly one colour. It's predominantly pink. So we can say, yeah, be colourful, go and get a parrot, that's fine. But look at colour, look at how that's going to sell. Where will it go and how will it be used? Be fashionable. What's going on right now? What is in fashion? So, vintage stuff is quite cool right now. Being maybe floral is, I don't know, is that cool right now? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. So, but be fashionable, be of the now. Try and do something that is current and, of course, up to date. People are going to look for images that are relevant right now because that's when they use them. They use them right now. Quite often, if it's an image that there is one to be used in an article of some kind or as part of a written piece, then it's important to tell a story. We can make this fit to quite a few things, for example. So this could be an article about how soothing horses are. It could be about how young people are more into equestrian sports now. It could be a lot of things, but it can tell a lot of stories. So if we had that at the top of our piece, we would understand a little bit about what we're going to get. We understand this, we can read the story from it. But from that, you've got to find what's good for you. You've got to find your niche. Now, for me, it would be cakes, obviously. But what is it going to be for you? What are you going to shoot? Now, that's not to say that you should only shoot that. I'm definitely not telling you that. But if you are a bit more centered on that thing that you know, then you're going to take better shots. I know that I'm going to take better photographs of cake than I would do of celery, because I know cake, I don't really know celery. So I know that I'm going to have more affinity with that. And I'm sure there are things in your life that you know more about than other people do, or you're involved with more than other people, and you'll see the shots that perhaps other people wouldn't see. Now this one is a tricky one. Show your skills. There are going to be some good Photoshop artists, I'm sure, in here. And something like that, if we were talking about the best businessman or power in the city, that's fantastic. But don't overdo it. Be very careful. That works as an image, but if we just added maybe 3 more layers, we might just not get anything from it because it would be too much. So use your skills, but use your skill wisely. And then be simple. We don't want it to be overcomplicated, even when it's telling a story, like the young lady with the horse, or with this. We want it to be nice and simple, that we can put to our story, but we know what's going on. So, this tells its story, but it's not overcomplicated. It's not busy. It's working well. Be real, we've already kind of covered. If we got these people to smile, why don't you put a laugh on? It's just not going to work. This is photographers. They need to be actually smiling, eye contact, that kind of thing. Okay, be zeitgeist. So, understanding what's going on around you is going to be really important. And one of the great stories is that a couple of years ago in New York, I think, something was invented. It was a cross between a bagel and a donut, if memory serves. And one particular deli was doing this. And a photographer and a contributor to Adobe Stock went, that's new. He bought a couple, took them home, took lots of photographs, different sizes, different angles, and it was a success story because this, I can't remember what it was called, took off, and so lots of publications and blogs and all that kind of stuff needed a photograph of this food type. So they went and grabbed stuff. So always be on the ball, know what's going on right now, what's going on around you, be aware of your surroundings, and you'll be good. All right, so I know a lot of these seem like they are contradicting each other, and I fully appreciate that. But be timeless. So you've got to be now, but timeless. It's tricky, but I don't doubt any one of you. Because you sat here, you want to do this. Be timeless. What is this going to be used for? How will it be used for? And how long can I get? What's the longevity of this piece? I was talking to somebody earlier on, and I say, this could be your retirement. This could be something that you put in and it just drip feeds into your account for years to come. You never know. Shoot what you love. Careful. Cakes is fine. Be classy. Trashy doesn't work. Not on stock sites. I dread to think how many photographs I've got similar to this of my grandchildren, and I don't do anything with them. Do you know what I mean? But they are very popular. Nobody's going to go, you haven't got grandchildren, Eric. I hate you all. All right, I have. But you've probably got photographs like this hanging around. They could be obviously very popular. Get inspired. Nice little flat shot there. These are things that are just lying around your house. You create with them, and they're going to be sellers. I would much rather see that photograph accompanying a piece than sort of a cluttered kitchen with all this in. Don't imitate, obviously. Do your own thing. Be versatile. So yes, you might be shooting young people, but experiment with that. How are you going to shoot them? And if they are all in a circle, get in there, Obviously not this shot, because you've got to be, Be precise, so get what you want to get. Don't look at something and go, okay, this is a chef making whatever they're making. I just eat it, don't make it. They're making whatever they're making. But getting close into that gives us more of the story, tells us more about what's going on, rather than the person. The person isn't the important bit. The this little pastry is. If you're shooting people and objects, you've got to get yourself organized. Make sure that those people around you are organized and you have the shot that you want to shoot, of course. And get creative with it. Always be creative, because that will drive you forward throughout your Adobe Stock career, which I hope is a long and fruitful one. If you'd like to know more, and why wouldn't you, then you'd need to go to contributor.stock.adobe.com.